Okay, we're going to look at the state design pattern using the example of a lock. So a lock can have two different states, locked and unlocked. And so you can see here we have multiple doors, and they have their state as like a message here. So we can lock it, unlock it for each one. So anyways, let's go ahead and look at some code. Okay, so the state design pattern has three different parts. It has the context class. And so this is the actual thing that has the state. So for instance, in our example, the lock object has the state of being locked or unlocked. And so that's just stored in the state. Okay, so what is the actual state class that we're referencing? Well, it's the lock state. Okay, so this is part 2 of 3. So this is the abstract. I'm going to write abstract. I like that better. Abstract state class. And so this is just responsible for declaring the functionality that each state has to take care of. So we just have one function called toggle, and we pass in a lock to operate on. All right, and so this is abstract, so we can't actually create any objects of this type, but we can create objects of the derived types. So those are called concrete state classes, unofficially by me. But maybe officially, I don't know. But anyways, these extend the parent class, so they inherit from it, and then that means they have to implement the functionality declared in lock state. Okay, so this implements toggle, and it just basically changes the state to unlocked. And then so that's the first concrete state class, and then of course the lock can also be unlocked. So this is the second concrete state class, also extends lock state, implements toggle, but it implements it in a different way. It kind of looks the same, but it does do something different. It changes the state to locked instead of unlocked. Okay, so if we go back to our lock, here's our context class. That's what's being referenced here. One of those two classes is locked or unlocked. Okay, and then for our constructor, we're just passing in, okay, is it starting out as locked or unlocked? Not very important, but we should talk about this. This is using the Singleton pattern. So this class is called lock states, and again, it's using Singleton pattern. Basically, that just means we're only going to have one object, at maximum one object of this class during the whole program. And so we can have extra data in this class, but we're only going to have one instance of this class. So we're only going to have one locked variable and one unlocked variable. And those are linked up to the concrete state classes. So we're only going to have one of these and one of these in the context of this lock states class. Okay, so we're going to be using this lock states class to change states. So over in our lock, we have this change state function, and that passes a state and just sets it to the lock state. Okay, and so that's being used over in our concrete state classes, and so that's being used in the toggle functions. So for the lock state, when a lock is passed in, it just changes the state of that lock to being unlocked, and then vice versa for the unlocked state, just changes it to being locked. Okay, so that's what happens when you call the toggle function. So let's go back here. This is our context class, and we have a lock function and an unlock function. And so what we're doing is we have to check if the state of the lock is unlocked when we're locking, and if it is, then we can go ahead and lock the lock. And we need this because if we don't have this and we try to lock it and it's in the lock state already, it will unlock it. So it'll do the opposite of what you want. So that's not good. Okay, and then same thing for the unlock, just kind of vice versa. And then is locked, this is just checking what the state of the lock is, and if it's locked, then it returns true. All right, so now let's go ahead and use that design pattern code. So this is outside the design pattern, but it's using the design pattern code that we just wrote. So the lock. Okay, so it has a lock, and now a door, you could have multiple locks, but we're just going to stick with one. And then we have basically these are pure relay functions, or that's what I call them. So this just relays over to a different function, and by pure relay it just does that and it doesn't do anything else. So over here in the lock, this is just a relay function, but it's not pure because it has this conditional here and then it relays. But over here, this is a pure relay because it just calls another function. All right, so lock door is calling the lock.lock, unlock, vice versa. Is locked, this is just another relay function that's a little bit different. It's just returning the result of this, okay? And the purpose of doing this, having these pure relay functions or relay functions in general, is so that we don't have to go into nested member variables. In other words, the interface for the door class is a lot cleaner. So let me show you this. So instead of having to do door dot lock dot lock or unlock, that's easier. We just have to say door dot unlock door. Okay, so that makes the interface cleaner. And then same thing for the is locked. Instead of door lock is locked, we just do door is locked. Okay. So that's the purpose of the relay functions. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to the actual application code. So app ts. And so you can see we're creating a door, setting it as unlocked to start with. All right, and then let's look at the HTML, app HTML. So let's go ahead and comment out this stuff. And just look at one door to start with. We have a lock button, unlock button, and then those are hooked up to the event handlers right here. Okay, so on the lock door button click, we're just going to lock the door, and then vice versa for the unlock button. So then we have our message here, and this is using the door.isLocked function. So that is right here. Okay, so if that returns true, then we print door is locked, otherwise door is unlocked. Okay, so that's just one door. Let me go ahead and save this, and then we'll look at it in the browser. Okay, here we go. Here's one door. It starts out unlocked. You can lock it, unlock it. Now, with those conditionals, if I press unlock and it's already in the unlocked, it doesn't change. And that's the purpose of those conditional statements we looked at. So same thing with the lock door. Okay, so you can do this with multiple doors too. So that's just what this code is, and you can look at that in the GitHub repo. I won't explain it, but it's pretty much the same stuff, just with some for loops and some extra stuff. So we'll save that, and then we'll go ahead and look at the browser. Okay, so now you can see there's multiple doors, and when I click one button, it only changes that door and not the other ones. And so that's really the point of that. Well, it's not the point, but it's just kind of cool to see the state design pattern extend into multiple objects. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you learned something, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.